Hello and welcome to our virtual yoga class. We'll start to settle into our class by shifting into position. We'll begin class by laying on our back. So start to shift to lay on the mat, making any adjustments you need to feel comfortable. Start to shift your attention to your breath. And then start to notice those points where your body meets the mat. From the back of your head all the way down to your heels. Invite an intentional breath, ribcage expands. Notice that exhale, release. We're practicing arriving to the mat, to our body, to our breath, to this moment. And that is a practice to cultivate. Inhale here and exhale, side out. You're releasing your to-do lists for the rest of the week, your to-do lists you have for today. You're starting to release any mental thoughts or clutter, or at least start to notice it. Throughout the class, place extra attention to your flexibility, strength, endurance. Use your breath to support you in exploring the poses. Throughout the class, I'll continuously cue to go back to the breath to support you in arriving to this moment continuously throughout the class. So a few intentional breaths here. If you want support in your concentration, just lengthen your inhale and exhale a little longer than you're accustomed to. Just by lengthening it a little bit, and it can be subtle, it's enough to shift your attention to this moment. Soften neck, shoulders, down the length of your back, down the length of your legs to your heels. Softening, relaxing. And very purposely, we're relaxing here. So it's a purposeful practice where we're placing extra attention to our bodies when we're softening our body. So we'll continue to begin class in a restorative pose. So let's start to shift our legs. So soles of the feet touch. You're shifting into a butterfly pose. Let's take one breath, hands framing your hips, palms up towards the ceiling. Intentional breath, belly expands. Exhale. And then take another breath, this time with your hands, resting around your belly, your chest, your heart center, any range there. On your next breath cycle, lift your arms up overhead, backs of the hands on the mat, elbows bent, so your elbows are framing your head. Perhaps there's a little arch to your spine. Take an intentional breath there. Once you've completed that breath, you can decide where to position your hands. We've just explored 3 different positions of placing your hands and arms. See which one supports you right now, which one you feel more connected with. You're simultaneously placing attention neck and down the back, especially around the hips, softening and opening here. You can imagine your knees melting towards the floor. Now I'll be here for a few cycles of breath, so allow yourself, by a few I mean quite a number. We're here for quite a number of breaths. So you're allowing yourself to soften and relax. Actually takes a lot of intention just to release, open up in chest and hips, softening the body. You still remain attentive and aware and focused. Notice your breath. And I invite you to take deep belly breaths. There's nothing constricting your belly right now. So you have that access to that full belly breath. For example, if we're in a forward fold, that deep belly breath isn't as accessible. So take an opportunity now and notice. You can take this deep belly breath at any time throughout your day, throughout the week. A deep, centering, generous breath. It helps us slow down. And what I mean by slowing down is not just physically, but we're physically, mentally slowing down. Having a healthy relationship with our breath is central and critical to having a healthy nervous system. At any point, inhaling here, exhaling, sighing out. Once again, placing attention, simultaneously softening neck, back, hips. Intentional breath, deep belly breath. Deep belly breath. Another intentional breath in your butterfly pose. And then we'll start to bring both knees back together. Your feet will float off the floor. Grab your knees with your hands, round your spine, forehead towards your knee, chin towards your chest. Hold. And then drop your head back. Rest your left ankle or shin right on top of your right thigh. Weave your left hand between your legs. Interlace your fingers behind that right thigh. You're breathing into your left hip. You can intensify that stretch in that left hip by bringing your right thigh closer towards your belly, your chest. Hold. Breathe into that area, what we're going to call our boundary. That's where you naturally stop. Breathe there so you can pull just a little bit more. And then release. Now, your feet float off the floor. Grab your knees again, round your spine, forehead towards your knee, chin towards chest, and drop your head back. Rest your right shin or ankle on top of your left thigh. Weave your right hand between your legs. Interlace your fingers behind that left thigh. Hang in here, placing attention to that right hip and intensifying that stretch by applying some gentle pressure on that left thigh, bringing your thigh closer towards your belly, your chest. Breathe into your boundary. Inhale. And exhale. Release. So now your feet continue to float off. Grab your knees with your hands, round your spine, forehead towards your knee, chin towards chest. Hold. And now release. Ground both palms onto the mat. We're going to lift and lengthen our left leg out. Press our right foot right against our left thigh. Lengthen our spine. Flex our left foot. Allow a gentle bend to our left knee and hold. Focusing on your anywhere from hamstrings down to your calf. Dropping your belly towards the mat. To the best of your ability, softening and relaxing around neck and shoulders. We tend to crunch up around there when we're folding. Notice those subconscious tendencies in the body, those little movements you make with your physical body that you're not immediately aware of. You want to bring attention to that. It's a good practice. Three more deep belly breaths. Notice that breath that begins at the belly. Belly expands on an inhale. And then after that breath, release. Extend that right leg out. Press that left foot against that right thigh. Lengthen your spine. Fold. Breathe into your boundary. See where can you fold just a little bit more to a point that's not painful. Inhale. And exhale. Start to release, and then 3 breaths with both legs extended. Fold, deep belly breath. Inhale, exhale. Feel free to hear your inhale and your exhale. Second cycle of breath. And third cycle of breath. Inhale. Exhale. Release after those 3 breath cycles at your own pace. You start to shift into a cross-legged position. Make any adjustments to feel comfortable. Bring attention to your spine. You want to make sure as you're moving throughout the class, you're aware of your spine. And we lengthen our spine by activating our core, opening our chest, sliding our shoulders down. So we're not abnormally lifting our chest and creating this rounding or this arch to your spine unnecessarily. It really is just a gentle activation, a gentle opening of the chest just to bring that spine that normally curves forward, lengthening and straightening it up a little bit. Also creating that muscle memory of that posture. We want that posture with the core activated. Notice that activated core. Deep belly breath. Find a point to focus on across the floor or room. Look at that point, steady breath, steady gaze, steady mind. After you've taken one generous breath there, start to release your chin towards your chest. Just hang in here, noticing the stretch in the back of the neck. Now lift your chin up towards the ceiling, opening the throat. Come back to neutral. Now take your chin, so you're looking over your left shoulder. Noticing a stretch there on the side of the neck. And then opposite side. Come back to center. Inhale, arms lift up overhead, palms up towards the ceiling. Lengthen here. You're lengthening your elbows. Stretch towards the left side of the room. Hold. Notice if your arms might be caving forward. You want those elbows to be in line with your ears. Back to center, opposite side. I breathe deeply here. Back to center, round your spine, chin towards chest, palms towards the front. Inhale and exhale, release. Let's shift into a downward facing dog. Now as you shift into your downward facing dog, you're grounding through your palms. Your fingertips are spread wide. Your heels are lifted. Now it's okay if your heels are soft, maybe moving towards the ground. But if you want to find more lift around your hips, you want to lift your heels. Now I'm pressing through my palms, and by the act of pressing through my palms, I bring my chest a little bit closer towards my thighs and my hips lift a little bit more. So notice that dynamic. Press through your palms, chest shifts towards your thighs, hips and heels lift a little higher. Legs and arms are active. Breathe into the stretch from your hamstrings, lower back. Just inhale here and exhale, side out. Release your knees down towards the floor. Shift back. Child's pose. 3 breaths in child's pose. Inhale here and exhale. Second cycle of breath. Inhale, exhale. Third cycle of breath. Inhale, exhale. Now ground both palms onto the floor. Lift the downward facing dog. Hold that down dog. Body is active. You're creating heat. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Drop your knees onto the mat, child's pose. 3 breaths in your child's pose. After those 3 breaths, lift up, downward facing dog. Hold. Lifting your hips, pressing through your palms. Imagine breathing, inhaling through the pores of your skin. And then the last round of a child's pose, release your knees onto the mat. Either knees close together towards the edges of your mat. Stretch your arms forward, palms on the mat. 3 breaths. After your child's pose, lift up, downward facing dog. Inhale, exhale. Start to lift your left leg, bend your knees, stack your hips, hold. The more you bend that left knee, the more you stretch around the quad muscle. And then release. Opposite side, lift your right leg, bend your knees, stack your hips. Release your foot back down towards the floor. Take your gaze right between your hands. Walk or jump up to that forward fold. Hold that forward fold, softening neck and head. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release. Sweep your arms up overhead. You're grounding through your feet, your heels. You've been inverted for quite some time, so take your time here adjusting to your mountain pose. Hands pressing against each other. I recommend closing your eyes. As you close your eyes, I almost said close your mind. You don't want that. As we close our eyes, we're welcoming our breath, noticing the quality of our breath, no judgment of our breath. Noticing we're welcoming our experience by welcoming our breath. Inhale and exhale for the day you've had so far. Inhale and exhale for this moment. And inhale and exhale for the rest of your day. Release your hands here. We're going to bring our arms out to a T. Now, as your arms are out in a T, you want to ground your feet onto the floor, leading through the chest, keeping your hips square towards the front, twist towards the right. Now, your hips will naturally open up towards the right, but do your best to see if you can also, as you twist, leading through your chest, your heart, you're also grounding through your heels, pivoting your hips towards the front. Arms are parallel to the floor. Chin moves towards the right hand, towards that direction of the right hand. And then back to center, lead through chest, heart. Take your gaze over your left hand. Hips towards the front. Release, come back to center. Cup your elbows with your hands. Open your chest, take your gaze up. There's an arch to your spine. And then release. Now interlace your fingers. Either palms touch or they do not. Ground through your feet. Fold halfway. Hold. You're breathing into your hamstrings. You're purposely bringing your shoulder blades closer together. Now we're going to fold all the way. Please be mindful and being gentle with your neck as you release your head. Hold here. You're breathing into the backs of your legs, shoulder blades, shoulders, length of your arms, upper back. Release your hands. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release. Now sweep your arms up overhead. We're going to prepare for 3 sun salutations. Let's take a moment, hands in front of our heart center. Inhale here. Exhale. Second breath, inhale, exhale. Perhaps invite a word, a sentence, an intention for your sun salutations. Release your hands. Inhale, arms lift. Exhale, bend your knees, fold down, forward fold. Being careful as you soften neck and head. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release, step back, plank pose. Core is active. Press through your palms, elbows close to your torso as you release down towards the floor. Tops of the feet on the mat, ground your palms. Now I'm engaging my glutes here to support me in this upward facing dog. Curl your toes, downward facing dog. Deep belly breath. Take your gaze right between your hands. Walk or jump up to that forward fold. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release. Sweep your arms up overhead. Scooping up the energy of the day, and we're going to integrate that down to our heart center. We're building those bridges of the physical, mental, emotional bodies through our breath. Second sun salutation, arms lift. Gentle with your neck or shoulders as you release down. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release. Step back, plank pose. Activate that core strength. Inhale up, upward facing dog. Exhale, shift into your downward facing dog. Let's take a breath or 2 in that down dog. Take your gaze between your hands. Walk or jump up to that forward fold. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release. Sweep your arms up overhead. Finding that extension in the spine, opening in the abdomen, hands in front of our heart center, mountain pose. Take a generous breath. Recall that word or phrase, that intention for your sun salutations. Release your hands, arms lift. Exhale, bend your knees, fold down, forward fold. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release, step back, plank pose. Release down towards the floor. Inhale up, upward facing dog. Exhale, down dog. In your down dog, lift your left leg, bend your knees, stack your hips, hold. Hold here. And then release your foot back down towards the floor. Opposite side, lift your right leg, bend your knees, stack your hips. Release your foot back down towards the floor and then shift down into a child's pose. Take a moment here to collect your breath, arrive to this moment. Recall that intention that you invited in your sun salutations. It could be that word or phrase, linger with it. Continue building the bridge of the physical, mental, emotional body through your breath, and just by being intentional and aware that relationship is there. 3 more breaths in your child's pose. Then after those 3 breaths, you'll start to release your child's pose, shift into a tabletop. We're just in this tabletop to transition. We're gonna work on a core workout. You're gonna make sure that left hand is right beneath that left shoulder. Now you have 2 options here. Left knee bent on the mat. You can stretch your right leg out, arm reaches up. This is the form that we're going for. You can take your gaze up towards your hand, towards the ceiling. For an intense core workout, we're gonna stretch out that left leg though. So we're gonna ground that right foot onto the mat for support and then lift that left leg. So the edge of that left foot is on the mat. You're lifting your right arm out, left hand. It's beneath your left shoulder. Deep belly breath. And then release your hand, release your knee. Shift into a tabletop. Let's inhale up. Cow pose, just protecting your spine here. 1 round and then exhale, round your spine, cat pose. Now we'll focus on the opposite side. So I recommend at least taking 1 breath, 2 breaths at least here with the right hand beneath your shoulder, stretching your left leg out. Just practicing lifting that left hip, lifting your arm here. You're activating your core. Inhale, exhale. Either remaining here or press to that left foot for support and then lift that right leg. Press through that right palm. You're lifting your left arm. Perhaps imagine a cord, lift your hip up towards the ceiling. Inhale and exhale. Release that right knee onto the mat. Drop that left hand, inhale up, cow pose. Exhale, round your spine, cat pose. 2 more times. Inhaling up. Exhaling, rounding your spine. Inhale up. Exhale, round your spine, tucking your tailbone in. And then another core workout plus balance. You're going to lift your left leg so it's parallel to the floor. Ground that left palm right beneath your shoulder. Lift your right leg, right arm. So you're lifting your left leg, lifting your right arm. You can take your gaze forward or down towards the floor. Release your hand, release your knee. Inhale up, cow pose. Exhale, round your spine, cat pose. Now opposite side, ground that right palm right beneath your shoulder. Lift your left leg, or sorry, not your left leg. Lift your right leg, and now lift your left arm. Taking your gaze forward or down towards the floor. Imagine a cord, lift your core up towards the ceiling. Glutes and quads are engaged. Try to invite an even breath. Release your hand, release your knee. Inhale up, cow pose. Exhale, round your spine, cat pose. Release your tabletop. Come to shift in a cross-legged position. Noticing which leg is most forward and then switching it out, just as in to invite balance. We tend to favor different sides of our bodies, creating imbalances, which is natural. We're seeking that balance in our yoga practice. And rest on your knees. Find a point across of you to focus on. One steady breath here. Steady gaze, steady breath, steady mind. Hands remaining on your shoulders, on your hands remaining on your knees. Lift your shoulders up towards your ears and then draw them back. Just a couple of times there. Shoulders up towards your ears, draw them forward. Shoulders up towards your ears, draw them forward. And after you move a couple of rounds, release. Take your left hand, grab your right knee. Now you want to make sure you're really getting a grip here to help you intensify the twist as you twist towards the right. Chin moves towards that right shoulder. And release, opposite side. Take your gaze over your shoulder. Release. Come back to center. Drop your chin towards your chest. Roll your head from one shoulder to the next. Complete a full circle here. Focus on the sides of the neck, throat, back of the neck, shoulders, upper back. Start to bring your head back to a neutral position. Inhale here, exhale, side out. We'll start to shift into our boat pose, another pose of core strength and balance. Take our palms out, lift our legs, activate glutes and quads. If you want extra support, you can take your hands behind your thighs. Hold here. Inhale here, exhale. Inhale here, exhale. And start to lengthen your legs, tuck your chin towards your chest. Hover. And drop your head back. Let's inhale here, exhale, side out. Invite a full body stretch, lifting your arms, interlacing your fingers, pointing your toes here. Lifting your abdomen for a stretch here to release compression around the lower back, mid back. Open up throughout length of your arms, lengthening your elbows. You can point your toes here as well. And then release that full body stretch. Bend your right knee, extend that right leg up towards the ceiling. And then drop your leg towards the left and towards the right, either keeping a sway or holding one position if your attention really wants to fall in one certain area. Hold or keep that sway. You're going to stretch into hips and glutes, hamstring, lower back. Inhale. Exhale. Release. Opposite side, lift, bend your left knee, lift your left leg up towards the ceiling. Now you can sway back and forth, dropping your leg towards the left and towards the right, or if you prefer to hold one position, go ahead and do so. Breathe into your boundary. Inhale, exhale. Soften your neck and shoulders to the best of your ability. Two more breaths. And then start to release your leg, bend both your knees, and then grab your feet with your hands. So your knees are bent, feet floating off the floor. Hands grab your knees and then start to rock to the left, to the right. Extend one leg more than the other. Extend both legs. Get that final stretch from ankles, calves, hamstrings, glutes, hips. You can even massage around the lower back, mid back by rocking to the left and to the right. Another breath here or two. And then start to release your legs. We'll start to shift into our final resting pose. Lengthen your legs, palms face up towards the ceiling. Body relaxed or Shavasana. Make any adjustments you need here to feel comfortable. This is a pose of stillness, of beingness. It means that we integrate our practice, letting go what doesn't serve anymore and receiving what does. It's a pose that teaches us the wisdom of being still and of doing very, very little. Let's invite a deep, generous, deep belly breath. Exhale, sigh it out. And then from here, you can either let your breath go back to its natural rhythm, no control of the breath, or practice some intentional deep breaths. There are benefits to either approach. You decide what is most helpful in your journey, in your process. Do soften your forehead and jaw and neck and shoulders. Those are all areas that we unconsciously tense up unnecessarily. And then soften down the length of your arms, wrists to your fingertips. Upper back, mid back, lower back to the area around your tailbone. And then down the length of your legs, from your hips, behind your knees, down to your ankles and toes. Observe any thoughts and sensations, just observe. We'll start to shift our attention back to our breath, inviting a generous and leisurely inhale and exhale. Restore some movement to your fingertips and toes. You can invite a full body stretch, lifting your arms up overhead, or you can turn your body to the side, allowing it to remain heavy and relaxed. Once again, return to a generous and a leisurely breath. And then after another breath or two here, start to slowly make your way up to your seated position. Notice that inner spaciousness and stillness you've cultivated throughout the class. And notice that you can always drop down and re-engage with this inner silence. It's always there. Use your breath to support you and dropping down to this field of awareness. We'll take a moment to appreciate our efforts. Notice that sometimes our practice is very accessible and sometimes it's less so. Always have compassion and patience with your process and always learn. So in that spirit, we'll seal the class with an intentional breath. We'll take our hands right in front of our heart center. Intentional inhale here and exhale. And in the tradition of yoga, the highest in me sees the highest in you. May we walk with each other in gratitude.